But English fielded another champion, an intimidating scholar, the monarch of London wits, a beacon of his age, a savage melancholic, and, like Isaac Newton, an effortless eccentric. He lived and created his masterwork in this house in Gough Square, just off Fleet Street, in London. Came the hour, came Dr. Samuel Johnson and his great dictionary. He thought he could write it in 3 years. When it was put to him that it had taken 40 Frenchmen 40 years to compile their dictionary, he replied, 40 times 40 is 1600. As 3 to 1600, so is the proportion of an Englishman to a Frenchman. In fact, it took him 7 years, and this is where he did it. In this garret on the top floor of this house, he fed material, 43,000 words and definitions, etymologies and quotations showing how they were used, to 6 assistants who wrote them down. Johnson's achievement with the dictionary was immense and immensely idiosyncratic. He left out proper names. He included obsolete words if they were found in authors not obsolete, and was criticised for including archaic words such as degradation, cubicularity, incompossibility, jobbanal, and opiniatory. He confessed to omitting words he couldn't explain because he didn't understand them. In a manner which would enrage and amaze all future lexicographers, he acknowledged that many terms of art, manufacture and trade are omitted, but for this defect I may boldly allege it was unavoidable. I could not visit caverns to learn the miner's language, nor take a voyage to perfect my skill in the dialect of navigation. His dictionary is lacking in the areas of law, medicine and the physical sciences. He left out rude words, and when 2 society ladies asked him why, he responded, "What, my dears? Then you've been looking for them." The dictionary was finally published in 2 folio volumes in 1755. And this is it. With all his omissions and banishments, it's a wonder that the dictionary carried any weight at all. In fact, it carried immense authority and also served a purpose of national pride, that English literature could boast such a mighty engine of words, and through the genius not of a French committee, but of an English individual. We like that, and the personality of that individual shines through, willful, prejudiced and learned. The dictionary becomes an autobiography, a portrait of an age, and a book that remains entertaining way beyond its useful life as a tool. Though it has to be admitted that as a tool it doesn't stand up by modern standards. Some of its etymologies, accounts of the origins of words, are questionable, and its definitions don't always shed light. Cough. A convulsion of the lungs, velicated by some sharp serosity. And dross. He says the recrement or despumation of metals. Sometimes they're biased or inaccurate. Oats he describes as a grain, which in England is generally given to horses, but in Scotland supports the people. Tarantula is an insect whose bite is only cured by music. Dull, he says, is not exhilarating, not delightful, as to make dictionaries is dull work. When he began his work, he sounded very much like the inheritor of Swift's great plan. The idea, he wrote, was to make a dictionary by which the pronunciation of our language may be fixed, its use ascertained, and its duration lengthened. But after he'd worked on the dictionary and come to write the preface, his pragmatism and his honesty saw a rueful but radical change of mind. English wasn't going to be tied down. No dictionary, Johnson added, could embalm a language and preserve it from corruption and decay, implying that for Johnson, like Swift, change was still for the worse. But I think there's something to celebrate in the end of the idea of trying to fix the meaning of words. English would never be lashed down, and the power of its freedom gave it, I think, an extra cylinder when it came up against the obstacle or the opposition of other languages.
Goat. A ruminant animal that seems a middle species between deer and sheep.
Electric. Attractive without magnetism.
Petroleum is a liquid bitumen, black, floating on the water of spring.
Enthusiasm. A vain belief of private revelation.
Lexicographer.
A vain confidence.
A writer of dictionaries. A harmless drudge.
Johnson's work won both brickbats and garlands, but it was rarely ignored. There was praise from the 2 European countries which had established academies to regulate their language, Italy and France. A French journal declared that Johnson himself was an academy for this island. And although it didn't fix forever the meaning, or in Swift and Johnson's word, ascertain a single word, the dictionary is still read and enjoyed in all its eccentric, dusty glory.